There you go. Praise be Jesus Christ. Woo. Welcome to the 9th annual Allied Women's Center Gala. Folks, we're going to have an awesome time tonight. Yes. And if I haven't had the opportunity to meet you, or if you haven't had a chance to meet me, please, sometime before the night's over, let's say hi. Let's chat. I'd love to meet you. I want to know everybody in this room. And I mean it, you know. My name is Richard Lena, and I'm the General Manager for Guadalupe Radio Network. I think you all have heard of the station. Yes? No? 89%? There you go. Please, 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 keep it tuned in your radio dial. 89.7. Ah, yes, there's a listener over there. Just one. On the way over here, I kid you not, I'm on Heavener, and I saw 5 different cars with bumper stickers for Catholic Radio, all things pro-life, the license plates, choose life. I knew I was going in the right direction. Yeah, I loved it. And in the mail yesterday, I received a rosary that I had ordered some time ago. And then the reason I ordered it is because a priest friend of mine, I love the guy, he's awesome. He had one just like it and showed it to me, and I had to get one. And then as I was checking in, he came in the door. Like, yes, Father, bless this. Would you bless this, Father? And he did. Father Clay Hunt, where are you? Where is he? He's not here. I don't see him. I'll catch him in just a little bit, but I got a blessed rosary. I'm on fire. Folks, if you haven't guessed, I get the opportunity to be your MC for this evening. And I do want to thank all of you all for being here. It's going to be a very wonderful evening. I think you're really going to like what you're hearing and seeing. Like I said on the way over here, of course, I was listening to the 89.7, and Gloria Purvis was on the air. Something about a quote from the French president about if you're educated, you shouldn't be having a lot of babies. Did you all hear that? Oof. I was ready to call in, but I was driving up. It was not a pretty sight, but she was doing her good part and making sure people understand. Life is a gift. Why would we say no to all those gifts? And tonight you have an opportunity to keep that going. But the way we start off everything, the way we should start off everything with prayer, if I could call up Monsignor Mike Yarborough from Holy Trinity Catholic Church, pastor here. Very supportive. Thank you so much. I almost called you Your Excellency. But Monsignor Mike has graciously hosted us tonight. We're very thrilled, and he will start us off with prayer, so he'll join us.
Thank you all for coming again this evening. We're delighted to host once again Allied Women's Shelter and this particular gala. One of the things that oftentimes takes place is the opportunity to meet new people. And I see some of my people that I knew when I was at another parish, but also people here meeting for the first time. So thank you all for coming. If we could pause a moment and in our own hearts, begin to offer a prayer to our God. Gathering those prayers together, we pray. Lord God, we give you thanks, praise, honor for all the blessings that you bestow upon us. We know you are a generous God because that's been the experience of all of our collective lives. We ask for your blessing for not only life, but love and faith, as we strive to be men and women who continue to carry on your Son's word and work to build the kingdom of God. We ask for that blessing on our food as well, that we may continue to nourish each other with our presence, with our example, with our prayers, but also to continue to know that your presence is there to guide, strengthen, and challenge, but also the comfort in those moments of life that we each experience. Thank you for our company. Thank you for our evening. Thank you for all that you give us. Through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you again, Monsignor Mike Yarborough. One of the things I like to do is encourage you to start eating your salads, but to recognize any seminarians, any priests that are here, any deacons. So if you are a deacon a priest, or a seminarian, would you please stand up so we can recognize you, please? Yeah, there you go, there you go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, this evening we're joined by 2 bishops, retired bishops. Bishop Pfeiffer, the Diocese of San Angelo, and Bishop John W. Yanta, right here, folks. A big round of applause, way to go. Yes, yes, yes. 2 pro-life pillars. Woo, weird. Let's see if we get this going. Okay, so again, here it is. Peter Wickersham is a longtime Allied Women's Center board member and its current president.
I know, hey,
He's a board-certified appellate lawyer in solo practice here in San Antonio, a member of the National Board of Directors of the Catholic Bar Association, a member of St. Peter Prince of the Apostles, and husband of 33 years to his beautiful bride, Claire, proud father of 2, and extremely proud grandpa of 2. Peter, would you come on up here for a second? Folks, the board of Allied Women's Center, Peter Wickersham.
You know, I find when I go to galas that you always have that worry, like, can I keep eating and can I make noise while people are speaking? You can do that as long as I'm speaking while Star is speaking, however, you cannot do it. Thank you, Richard, for the kind introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our 9th annual gala. I am pleased to announce that registered attendance this evening is 460, and that our generous sponsors have underwritten every aspect of this event. So this should be Allied's most successful gala ever. I know we billed tonight's program as running from 7 to 9, but we have so much exciting ground to cover this evening that it may take us till a little closer to 9:30. That's an Allied tradition, so we ask your indulgence. We plan an inspiring program during which our keynote speaker, Star Parker, and our Lifesaver Award winner, Senator Eddie Lucio Jr., will energize you to continue the struggle for the sanctity of human life. At the outset, I would like to recognize the individuals without whom Allied cannot achieve its mission. Soon you will hear about how efficient Allied is in its use of resources. This would be impossible without our many volunteers. If you are now or have ever been a volunteer for Allied, please stand and be recognized. Please do so. Allied also has an active and deeply engaged board of directors. As I call your name, please rise and be recognized. Don't be shy. Lisa Bastian, Stanley Cernosik, Sandy Kielbasa, Sherry Krause, Mike Kanupke, Barbara Paparella, Robert Stovall, and Lester Yanta, who couldn't be with us this evening. Yay. And saving the best for last, Terry Herring, our co-founder and longtime executive director. Let's have a hand, please. Also joining us are many past board members whom we thank for their dedication and service. And Richard mentioned that, our gratitude and our appreciation for the clergy who are here this evening, especially our longtime sponsors and supporters. And I wanted to note as well that Bishop Boulette was invited this evening to be our honorary chairman. He was alas unable to attend, but he sent us this really beautiful letter. Dear Peter Wickersham and honored guests, it is a privilege to offer my congratulations to the Allied Women's Center this evening on behalf of the Archdiocese for the life-saving work they are doing in our community day in and day out. Allied Women's Center began at St. James Church almost 2.5 decades ago through the dedicated efforts of Terry Herring and her pastor, Bishop John Yonta. From its humble beginnings, when cribs and car seats were stored in the Herring family garage, and clothes and baby formula kept in a closet at St. James, the Crisis Pregnancy Center has been blessed with growth and now offers a plethora of free services, such as pregnancy testing, one-on-one counseling, financial assistance, and baby and maternity items. The philosophy is simple. Do whatever needs to be done to save the baby, whether that entails paying rent, obtaining a cell phone, making car payments, whatever. As Terry has said many times, something as simple as purchasing diapers will make the difference. That is why events such as this evening's gala are so important and necessary to offer a venue to help the center meet its financial needs and the needs of the families of saved babies. We offer our support to the mission of Allied Women's Center to encourage abortion-minded women and men to instead make life-affirming decisions when faced with an unplanned and/or crisis pregnancy through counseling, education, compassionate care, and extended material aid. Lastly, we express our gratitude to the many dedicated volunteers who work tirelessly in a variety of capacities to help save the life of the baby from abortion and help the mother and family once they've made that life-affirming decision. We pray mightily for the continued success of your efforts. In Jesus, the Most Reverend Michael J. Boulette, Auxiliary Bishop of San Antonio. And even though he's not here, I think he deserves a round of applause for that beautiful letter. Now, I'd like to invite our beloved co-founder and executive director, Terry Herring, to join me to share some words about Allied Women's Center's efforts to provide women with a real alternative to the scourge of abortion.
I think it's hard to follow Peter without doing my best. You know, it is my faith that brings me here. And it is a faith deeply rooted on the teaching of the Catholic Church, which teaches us that every life is sacred. Every life is worth saving. And I really thank you all for being here, because we could not do it without you all. I take myself with pride that when I say we'll do whatever it takes to save the life of a baby, we do it. And we are there for as long as the women needs us. Today, I had a woman whose baby we saved 6 years ago. So this baby is 5, and the mom came today and says, I need money to buy a bus pass so I can get to work. And we went ahead and gave her the money she needed for the bus pass. Simple things like that make a difference. And when our moms come back, they know that when we tell them we'll be there for as long as you need us, when you need us, we'll be there for you. You know, our faith teaches you that we need to act upon the corporal acts of mercy. And at our life, we get the opportunity to do that every day. So you want to make your faith a living, walking faith. Come join us. Come volunteer, and you will see your faith in action. Thank you, and thank you for being here.
So in planning this presentation, Terry said, I'll talk about the babies and the mothers. You talk about the numbers. So here goes. In the 24 years since its founding, Allied has saved more than 2,400 babies. Babies whose mothers came to us determined to have an abortion. 1,200 of those in the last 5 years alone. Now let that sink in for a moment. 2,400 lives. There are 460 people here this evening. So imagine you could snap your fingers and such that every person here never was. Now imagine doing that almost 6 more times. That is precisely the fate Allied Women's Center has spared San Antonio and the world. Over the course of its history, Allied became independent, moved its headquarters from borrowed space at St. James Parish to leased space on North Main Avenue to its present location at 102 Marshall Street near downtown. Purchasing this location, actually we have 2 small buildings there, was a leap of faith for Allied. So I'm pleased to report that through sound financial management, Allied has a mortgage balance of just $40,000. Having operated a second location on Babcock Road for a number of years, Allied decided in 2016 to relocate its second facility to the south side. Whereas San Antonio's many crisis pregnancy centers are typically located on the north side, Allied wanted to operate where many of its clients live and work. In seeking a new location, it was as if our search committee was guided by the hand of the Holy Spirit. It promptly found a vacant office with a sympathetic landlord directly across the street from a Planned Parenthood satellite clinic. Days later, the lease was signed on favorable terms, and within weeks, Allied's Beavers location was fully operational, thanks to the support and the immediate help and timely help of our volunteers. At this time, the Beavers location is integrating itself into the community, maturing operationally, and making a greater contribution with each passing month. In 2012, through the generosity of the Knights of Columbus, Allied entered into its first collaboration for the provision of prenatal ultrasound services to its clients. Under this arrangement, Dr. Steve Pilkington of Dignity Women's Center has housed and maintained Allied's ultrasound machine and provided ultrasound imaging services to Allied's toughest cases. We know that 80%, oh wait a second, there we go. I stepped on some applause there, I'm sorry. There we go, that's better. Still kind of a rookie at this. Under this, so we know that 80% of abortion-minded women choose life after they see their unborn babies via ultrasound. And I was learning from Terry today that our save rate is actually more like 89%. we have a woman who has a positive test, who is abortion-minded. In about 89% of the cases, we're able to save the baby. What do I mean, we, she, and the rest of the people who work at the clinic. Again, through the generosity of the Knights, Allied will soon purchase a replacement for the current unit, which is nearing the end of its useful life, have that unit refurbished, and place the refurbished unit with a sympathetic physician somewhere in the vicinity of Beaver's location. Thus, Allied will have 2 ultrasound machines working for its clients throughout the city. Allied's finances are blessedly straightforward. Less than $100,000 in salaries, $65,000 in mortgage, rent, and overhead costs, and nearly $100,000 in direct support to clients, including assistance with rent, utilities, diapers, cribs, car seats, clothing, formula, and whatever else it takes to save a baby. Because Allied supporters are so generous with in-kind donations, there's a kind of multiplier effect wherein Allied provides additional tens of thousands of dollars worth of goods and services each year to save baby families. Allied's Ministry of Education, Persuasion, Material Aid, and Prayer for abortion-minded women doesn't come cheap, but it does come efficient. Most importantly, to remain true to our faith, Allied does not accept government funding, any government funding whatsoever. The math is simple. Throughout the year, Allied's expenses are $22,000 per month, and through most of the year, our regular income runs $11,000 to $12,000 per month. That's where Allied supporters, our extended family, who are attending this gala, come in. But we'll talk about the D word a little later. In closing, I want to mention one other item that is on Allied's horizon. While the number of surgical abortions has fallen, there is reason to believe that the decrease has been more than offset by chemical abortifacients. RU 486, Plan B, emergency contraception, Ella, or whatever euphemism the abortion industry chooses to designate. Allied is committed in the coming months and years to ensuring that San Antonio women who are tempted to avail themselves of this insidious modality are aware that there is an alternative and that Allied Women's Center can help them make a different choice. Thank you.
To accept it himself. But as Peter said, he wouldn't have. He would have said, no, forget it. Just pass that on to somebody else. But Rick poured his heart and soul into Allied Women's Center. He so valued the work done in saving babies. Pro-life and social justice issues at all levels was a priority in his life, which is why I suspect now in his forever life, he will continue to watch over all of us, to guide us, to pray for us, to continue to fight the good fight. Thank you so much for this, and God bless all of you for your hard work, your dedication, your generous contributions to this most worthy cause. Thank you so much.
And then the next part of our program. If you've been here before, you know there's a wonderful Lifesaver Award that gets presented. And to present it, that award, I get to introduce Frank Court Jr. A little bit about him, if you don't know, he was a Republican member of the Texas House of Representatives, representing District 122 from 1993 to 2013. He graduated from the Army War College and earned his bachelor's in building construction from Texas A&M University. Oh, come on, that was weak. Come on. There you go. I figured I'd get that. Not me, but for him. He's worked as a policy planner for the United Nations Command, the Combined Forces Command, Korea, and served as second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps. Come on. There you go. Representative Frank Court Jr. is a small business operator involved in property management and land development. He was first elected to represent District 122 in 1992. He currently serves as chairman of the House Defense and Veterans Affairs Committee and sits on the House Natural Resources Committee. And he is the highest ranking member of the Texas House's Bexar County delegation.
He enjoyed it.
In 2003, Court was appointed chairman of the Defense Affairs and State Federal Relations Committee and the Texas House Republican Caucus elected Court its chairman in February of 2007. And Representative and Mrs. Court are blessed to have three beautiful children. Representative Court, if you come on up here, please, for this next part, to present our 2018 Lifesaver Award. Pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Howdy.
Howdy.
I got to say that all Aggies out there, we know what howdy means. I had to do that too. I have the great pleasure of introducing the individual that is going to come up here and get the Lifesaver Award. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. Now, you got some information in your program there that has all those really finer details about State Senator Lucio. And of course, all of elected officials, politicians have these very lengthy bios. But I'm going to give you a personal introduction. And of course, you heard a little bit about my background. Of course, I got elected to the legislature, and you know, the legislature in the House has 150 House members, and the Senate has these 31 senators over there. And you know, regardless of what you might think, and I know we got a lot of folks that are very familiar with the legislative process here in Texas, but you know, something unlike Washington, we have some civility, believe it or not. I know you might not believe that, but there is some civility in this process. But when I first met Senator Lucio, of course, we were much younger men then, right, Eddie? But when I first met him, I had heard about him, I knew a little bit about him. But you know, when you work side by side on issues, whether it's education or life issues, you learn a lot more. And of course, one thing you heard in my bio is I'm a Republican. Well, Senator Lucio is a Democrat. Now, you know, that's not unusual. We have Democrats and Republicans in the Texas legislature. But when you have issues such as pro-life issues, you know, it's kind of funny. You know, when I got to the legislature, there wasn't many Republicans in the House. And so we had to work together with our colleagues that were pro-life Democrats. And of course, Eddie is one of those individuals. In fact, he will tell you he's 100% pro-life. And he has been, and he's true to that aspect. I had the very great honor of being a part of the legislation in 2003 that was the Women's Right to Know Act. And getting it out of the Texas House was really not a big problem. But when it got to the Senate, and Eddie was over there, he got elected in 1990 to the Texas Senate. He'd already been in the House. He comes from Cameron County, as you may know, and he was had been elected to the county treasurer and county commissioner's court. So he was a pretty seasoned statesman. And you're laughing about that, but he really is. And of course, you know, as a member, you have to go over and work the membership. You have to know where the members are and how they're going to vote. And I had no problem when I was talking to Eddie about this measure. Him and his very good friend, the late Senator Frank Matla, and a couple other Senate Democrats were on board. And I will tell you, we had to get 2/3 just to get it to the Senate floor. And I will tell you, we would not be able to pass the Woman's Right to Know Act in 2003 if it wasn't for Eddie Lucio in the Senate. And I want to give him that credit. Of course, that's not the rest of all the story. And I'm going to only get a little part up here. When I got asked to come and introduce Eddie, I said, you got to be kidding me. I want to grow up to be like Eddie. I know. But, you know, he serves on several committees that are very important for our state. And we are so lucky to have him serving us here in the state of Texas. And it's just a great honor for him to receive this award, the Lifesaver Award. And so, you know, he stood up for life. He stands up for everybody in Texas. And I'm glad to call him my friend. So Eddie, if you could come up, I think that they actually have an award for you. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to present it to you after you speak or what.
Frank, thank you so much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Frank and I just hit it off, and we kept on hitting it off every time we got together. We certainly worked on issues that were important, not only for San Antonio, not only for Cameron County or the Valley, but for the whole state of Texas. And I have so much admiration for him as a wonderful, wonderful Christian man. But you know, I know some of you here might not be Aggies, but he's definitely one of my top two Aggies, the other one being the Chancellor, John Sharp. I want to also, and I would be remiss if I didn't tell you how proud I am of Teresa Miller Herring. Teresa was my student back in 1966. I was 20 years old. I was teaching junior high school. But in the morning early, I would get up and I would teach driver education. And I took her out. Nobody else wanted to because she was a little notorious behind the wheel. But she made it. And she's here tonight, and I was so happy when I walked in and saw her. And I want to thank her for having such a wonderful heart. God gave her a big heart. And tonight, I heard her speak here, and I was so, so proud of Teresa. So let's give her a big hand. I also would be remiss, and I was very moved by the presentation by President Werkesham on the Volunteer of the Year, who in my opinion are the true heroes here tonight, the volunteers. America's greatness has been because of the volunteers that have given of themselves, you know, to truly make America great, which it is and always will be. And my heartfelt sympathy to the Chet family, but also my congratulations for acknowledging him as the Volunteer of the Year. President Werkesham, I want to thank you for your leadership. Leadership to me is not the ability to tell people what to do. It is the ability to make people want to do the right thing through example. And I certainly appreciate your leadership and the leadership of many who are here tonight. Bishop Yanta, Bishop Pfeiffer, two outstanding bishops that are dear to my heart, all the clergy present. I want you to know that I pray for you every day. We all do, and we appreciate what you have done to make sure that our faith continues to stay strong. I would be very remiss if I didn't acknowledge Archbishop Gustavo Garcia Siller. He did something so wonderful in appointing me to the International Conference of Catholic Legislators. And I can't thank him enough, because it's been a wonderful experience to be able to travel the world, starting with Rome, Austria, back to Rome this year, where I met the Holy Father. And I presented the Holy Father with a Senate resolution in his election that was signed by 31 senators, and also a memorial resolution that I passed when John Paul II passed. I'm very thankful. I'm also thankful to have had the opportunity to go to the swearing-in ceremonies of our new senator here in the heart of Texas, Senator Pete Flores. Let's give him a big hand. Words cannot express the profound gratitude and humility I feel tonight in being honored this way. I'm almost a little embarrassed, because as a legislator, the easiest votes I take on the floor of the Texas Senate are for the protection of life, because my faith plays a major part in my decision making. Easy does not mean effortless, and I graciously accept this award in hopes that maybe this platform provides an opportunity to encourage future champions to protect life from conception to natural death and everything in between. A little bit about me, because I'm living the dream of living in the greatest country in the world. I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself and where I come from, if I may, because I'm anxiously waiting to hear our keynote speaker. I was born in Brownsville in 1946. My parents were Eduardo, which is my name, and Josefa Lucio. I have 9 brothers and sisters. I had 9 brothers and sisters. I lost a brother 3 years ago, Joseph. I come from a very devout Catholic family. My dad demanded that we be ready on Sunday morning half an hour to 45 minutes before Mass, because he wanted the front pew. And as we grew up, we took 2 pews, the girlfriends and boyfriends. They had to go to the Catholic Church. I remember the struggle for housing. That's why Frank knows I'm a big advocate for housing. Being a family of 10 in Brownsville, it wasn't easy to find a rent home. The renter always felt that we were going to destroy the home when he saw the car full of heads. So we had to live in government housing there for a couple of years because we couldn't find a place. So to me, it's very important to do what we can to establish programs that will afford an opportunity to those families to have a home, which is central, the foundation of the family. And I was happy to pass several bills, but one in particular, the bootstrap program, where it is required of those that are going to have these homes to produce some sweat equity, to be able to work in laying pipes and building that home. And I can report to you that we have a couple of thousand homes already, a couple of thousand families living, you know, with dignity and respect. I can remember standing in line at community clinics for our shots, which we all hated. But had it not been for healthcare services for those less fortunate in this state as we have them today, and to have the ones we had back then, I would probably be standing here today. A story I must share with you tonight that is so important for all of us to hear. And for me, it's one of the most important lessons that I learned from my father and my mother. We finally found that big home we were looking for, and the rent was, you know, not too bad, and two wonderful, three brothers that had an appliance store rented it to us pretty inexpensively. It was right behind their business. Big home. It was right downtown, next to the Texas Employment Commission. So there were a lot of people looking for work, obviously. So at the end of the day, right before 5 o'clock, my dad would call from the sheriff's office and would tell me, put on the barbecue pit. But it wasn't in the backyard because the house we were living in was so far back that you could actually open the door and throw the trash in the alley. So we barbecued in front of the house. And we started the bar. He stopped at Piggly Wiggly. And he bought some fryers. My mother would chop them all up, and we start barbecuing. And then the smoke would start coming up, and the chicken actually was being cooked pretty good. And when those people that were in front of the Texas Employment Commission were on their way home, they had to pass right in front of our home. And I was a teenager back then, and I said something pretty stupid. Because my dad was listening to what they were saying as they were walking by. They were saying, it's beautiful, it smells so great. So, wait a minute. He opened up the loaf of bread, he started putting all those chickens in there and handing them out. And I said, Dad, what about us? And I remember looking deep into my dad's eyes, with beautiful brown eyes, and he told me, go inside and tell your mama to make more rice and beans for us. And that was the greatest lesson of sharing, caring, loving your neighbor. We finally moved out of that, the housing authority. We found a little home out there in West Brownsville, and I went out into the alley and I found an old club, golf club. Little did I know that we had moved into a neighborhood of caddies. And I picked up that club and started breaking rocks. And the neighbors all laughed at me. All the boys were laughing at me and said, come over here, boy. Let me show you how to grip that. So I learned how to grip it. I learned how to stand. I learned how to take it away. And I learned how to follow through. And I became better than they were. And I became captain of the golf team. The rest is history. I had a golf scholarship in college. All my brothers and sisters play golf. And it's a great game because it teaches you discipline, it teaches you honesty, it teaches you a lot of wonderful things. There's so many stories though that go along with that, but there's no time for it. I remember a counselor in high school telling me that I should not go to college and become a teacher because, you know, we needed more mechanics. But I told my dad wants me to be a teacher. Being a teacher was the greatest thing. A profesor, un profesor. Mi hijo es profesor de escuela, you know, a teacher in school. And I became a teacher anyway. And so many, thank you. So many other things, you know, I think the greatest thing that happened this year on February the 21st, and I have to tell you because I'm in the greatest city in the state of Texas, and I'll tell you why I say that. 50 years ago on February the 21st, my wife and I now have been married 50 years. On February the 21st, 50 years ago, I got married in Brownsville, but my honeymoon was right here in San Antonio. And we went around that little something of the Americas. It took 1 hour to have lunch. I wanted to go too. I'm just a blessed man with having grown up in a home with a father who's a disabled American veteran of foreign wars, that preached Americanism, patriotism every day of his life. He told us that we were Americans. We're Americans and not to label ourselves any other way. And that we should come together as one country, one family, one state, one family, one community, one family. And that's what we need to do. By the way, I have two sons. I have a son and a daughter. My son is a state representative, graduated law school at University of Texas. And my daughter just got her credentials to be a principal. And I do have 5 beautiful grandchildren, 3 termites and 2 princesses. I want to let you know that one of the first things I did after the November election 2 years ago, and this is not in my notes, but it comes to mind right now, because it's important as we talk about prayer tonight, as we share prayer for one another. I got in my car early to go to work, and I reached over to the rearview mirror, pulled off my rosary. You know, we travel around with rosaries hanging around rearview mirrors. I took it off and I prayed that rosary all the way to work. And you know who I prayed for? I'm going to tell you tonight who I prayed for. I prayed for the new President of the United States of America. I prayed for him. I truly did, so we could become truly one nation under God, all of us. And I told God, though, to soften his heart a little bit. I told God to make sure that his son was compassionate and that we could all work together for America. And now that you know my life story, I share all of this with you because I know that one of the reasons I've been chosen to receive this award is because of the political courage it takes to be pro-life and to be a Democrat. Yes, it is very possible to do both. You see, ladies and gentlemen, you see, for me, being pro-life isn't simply enough. My faith calls upon me to be a little bit more. Now that you know my background and my history, it should be transparent to you why I believe in social programs that promote the ladder of opportunity. The people of the Rio Grande Valley elected me, but it was God's plan to begin with, to address the need of his sheep. Knowing the struggle to find housing as a child, as chairman of the Senate Committee with jurisdiction over housing, I created affordable housing opportunities as a legislator because the Bible teaches us the family unit is precious and holy and should be together always. Having stood in lines at community clinics, I defend funding for public health programs that support children and families in need because no one should have to die just because they can't afford to live. That is so important. I want to just say that all of us should be pro-lifetime. Pro-lifetime. What does that mean? As I mentioned, from conception to natural death, we need to be pro-lifetime. I'm blessed to be among you tonight because I know that San Antonians are pro-lifetime too. In the turbulent political discourse in which we find ourselves today, I'd like to remind you that we are living the dream again. That starts with birth. And I ran into a Republican candidate the other day. She was such a wonderful person, such a wonderful disposition. And he's the one that said, I'm living the dream, Lucio. And you're good for you. That makes two of us. In 1990, when I ran for the Senate, I had a slogan, putting the valley first, I said. In 92, when I was opposed, I said, doing what's right for the valley. Today, I'll tell you, we're in this together, all of us. This state, this country, and together we can do anything that we need to do and we should do so that we can make sure that everyone is at the American table. Thank you. God's table. Thank you for everything.
Not just as my favorite legislature, but as my teacher, as somebody that I've known most of my life, somebody who taught me how to drive. And if you listen to Robert Stovall, he will tell you that he did a good job, but I had a very heavy foot. And I think this is my favorite part of the night because I get to share with you one of our stories that I try to share with you every year. Sometime last year, I got a call from a young woman, and I'm going to invite everybody that was involved to come up, because this will show you that it literally took a village to save one baby. Literally took a bunch of people. I got a call that there was a young woman coming to the center, that she was from Vietnam and she wanted to terminate her pregnancy. I'm sitting at my desk and I'm wondering, how am I gonna do this? I speak no Vietnamese. I have no idea how am I gonna communicate. Caroline Weinheimer walks into my office. She had been working on the yard, and out of nowhere I go, Caroline, do you know anybody that speaks Vietnamese? And I thought she was gonna laugh me off. And she says, you know, I do. Let me call my husband. So she calls me up. She called her husband up, and I said, let me call Doc. So he called Doc, who in turn called the interpreter, who is helping how to them. Long story short, in 30 minutes, we had everybody in the office that we needed to save that baby. You know, nothing happens by chance. God put it all together. If a small piece of the puzzle had not fit, only God knows what would have happened. But I'm going to let Lynn take over the microphone, and with the interpreter, we're going to try to get across what Allah means to them.
I would like to say thank you to everybody here. I want to say again, thank you very much to everybody that helped me and family, and we are happy here.
Dạ, khi mà ai á thì con cũng không biết cái gì hết đó, và khi con biết con có em bé thì lúc đó con mới ở đây thôi, và con chỉ có biết là con đi làm một ngày có 3 tuần, và lúc đó chồng con thì lay off và con có em bé. Con mới đầu con không có con nghĩ là con rơi vào hoàn cảnh đó, con muốn bỏ đứa bé đi, nhưng mà con đi á, thì khi mà con đi thì con lại gặp được TV, và bà TV nói với con đó là giữ em bé lại đi.
Come here. Hello. When I came here, I don't know anything about English on the line over here. From the other country, I expected very much, and then I would get dancing around the line over here. But the reality is different when I come here, and no English, no car, no driver license, and only depend on the help of everybody, especially. And at a point, it's so desperate. I want to terminate the pregnancy.
Dạ. Là khi con tính đi bỏ một cái bé như vậy á, thì con vô tình con gặp được bà Tere. Bà Tere nói với con là con giữ đứa bé lại đi, thì con cũng rất là phân vân và suy nghĩ.
By the blessing of the Lord, I met her, and she and her staff tried to convince me very much that they can guarantee her keep the baby, and they would have as much as they can.
Và con cũng có một suy nghĩ về khi mà con nghĩ là tại sao người ngoài nói con giữ lại đứa bé của con mà con không giữ lại, thì điều đó cũng rất là tội cho đứa bé, cho nên con đã quyết định giữ lại đứa bé. Và khi tới bây giờ thì hiện tại bây giờ con suy nghĩ đó là một cái quyết định hết sức là đúng đắn trong đời của con đã không có làm một cái tội ác.
By listening to her and other people, I decided to follow their help and instruction. And it is the most important thing that I did in my life, that baby is here.
Và bây giờ thì thưa tất cả mọi người, đó là con rất là hạnh phúc khi thấy em bé chào đời một cách bình an, và rất là vui vẻ. Gia đình con có thêm một bé nữa, và ở đây mặc dù là con mới sống ở đây có 2 năm thôi, nhưng mà con thấy là điều đó là một điều hạnh phúc nhất đời con rồi.
We have been here 2 years, and ever since right now, we are very, very happy. We have a peace, and mostly by the help of everybody around us. They do not treat me like stranger, but treating me like family member, just yeah.
khi mà bây giờ thì con đã có xe, con đã cũng biết được cái cuộc sống ở đây và con cũng hơi một tí thích nghi được rồi, thì con nghĩ là con cảm ơn tất cả mọi người đã giúp con thông qua bà Tere giúp con để con giữ lại đứa bé, và con cũng mong muốn rằng rất là nhiều phụ nữ sẽ gặp được hội của bà Tere và giữ lại nhiều đứa bé để có cuộc sống tốt hơn như những đứa trẻ.
I pray that this organization can have more children like Becky here. May I introduce she? Her name is Maria. Her first birthday tomorrow. All my family can praise God, give us courage, give us guidance, and there will be no more killing of the babies.
Amen.
Con xin thay mặt tất cả những người phụ nữ đã giữ được những đứa trẻ mà hội đã giúp, thì con xin cảm ơn tất cả mọi người.
We're very gratitude to be here and I'm very honored too. Thank you very much.
You know, it's the stories like that that make me happy to go to work every day, because I get to see the results of our work. She named Maria after the Blessed Mother because when I was counseling her, I told her she needed to trust the Blessed Mother, that the Blessed Mother was going to take care of her and her family, that not to abandon her Catholic faith, but that faith will carry her through. So that day, after we canceled, the interpreter and Mr. Adams introduced her to the Vietnamese community. Now they got a car, they got a job. She actually gave me money for one of my clients the other day, because there was a young girl there who needed money. She opened her wallet and she gave me $50 to give the other client. So that gorgeous baby is actually my goddaughter. So thank you.
And just like that, wow. Thank you so much, Terry. And look at that precious little baby. Another round of applause. Thank you so much for Tuesday night. I get this to work well. All right. Obviously, you all have been waiting, as have I, to be hearing from our keynote speaker today. Of course, a little bit about her in case you don't know anything about her. Star Parker, of course, is one of the names on the short list of National Black Conservative Leaders. Star is the founder and president of Center for Urban Renewal and Education, CURE, C-U-R-E, a Washington, D.C. based public policy institute that promotes market-based solutions to fight poverty. Star consulted on federal welfare reform in the mid-90s and then founded CURE to bring new ideas to policy discussions on how to transition America's poor from government dependency. In 1996, she was the featured speaker at the 1996 Republican National Convention. To date, Star Parker has spoken on more than 225 college campuses, to include Harvard, Berkeley, Emory, Liberty, Franciscan, UCLA, and UVA. Star has authored several books, and she's a regular commentator on national television and radio networks, including BBC, EWTN. Is that a good pause? Good effect? All right. Fox News, And STAR is a nationally syndicated columnist with creators reaching 7 million readers weekly. You don't want to hear me anymore. You want to hear STAR. STAR, come on up.
Well, thank you for your being here. And for me, this is the hardest part of the evening, but it is the most important, because without your help, we cannot do it. It takes a lot of money to help the moms. And I could not do my work if in the bottom of my heart, I did not know that I was going to be able to provide for the women. I will feel like a hypocrite if I could not provide for the women. I cannot do it myself. I need your help. I need your help. Not everybody can be in the counseling room, but everybody can help those of us who are in the counseling room to provide for the women what they need to carry their pregnancy to term and to raise that beautiful baby, that it is a child of God and it is a person who deserves a right to life. So I'm going to turn it over to Peter, but I'm going to ask you to really think from the bottom of your heart, what can you do to help us? Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Well, you've heard what Senator Lucio, Star Parker, and Terry Herring have to say. I'm only going to add this. In a couple of months, an annual ritual will take place in my household, watching It's a Wonderful Life at Christmas time. I suspect many of your families share the same tradition, so I hope you're familiar with the story. In that treasured film, Clarence, the angel's second class, says to George Bailey, a man who's been given the privilege of seeing what the world would be like if he had never existed. He says to him these words, "Strange, isn't it? Each man's life touches so many other lives. When he isn't around, he leaves an awful hole, doesn't he?" I ask you to picture 2,400 George Baileys that Allied Women's Center has saved in the last 24 years. Then, I ask you to picture how you can ensure that Allied Women's Center is there for the next 2,400 George Baileys. Pick up your pledge card, read it, look at the donation categories, consider whether they work for you or if some other amount is more appropriate. Consider whether you can do it all now or if you can do perhaps more by stretching it over a year. Say a prayer, dig deep, be as generous as you can, fill it out, you know how to do it. Place your completed pledge card in the corresponding envelope. This one, real easy, it's got the monstrance on the front of it. Return it to the manila envelope on your table. And know that Allied Women's Center is deeply grateful for your generosity and that you have already made this Allied's best gala ever. Thank you.
And the Save Babies at the Allied Women's Center. But I am so proud to present my biggest Save Baby. This young man is here because of the Allied Women's Center. But I am proud to call him my son. And this is the young man that put that video together that you all watched when you come in, the video of the Save Babies. He did it for us.
All right, Peter!
And I'm very proud to call this Save Baby my child. Thank you.
Walks the walk, talks the talk. She does it. She's awesome. Thank you again, Terry. Big round of applause for Terry and all the wonderful work that she does. What a beautiful woman and wonderful inspiration. Thank you, Terry. As you're finishing off there.
That was Peter.
Peter, thanks. Of course, we started off with prayer. We're going to finish off with prayer. I think some of you all may still be finishing off right now. But to close us out for the evening, and don't split after the prayer, I'm going to finish off with a few more comments. But I'm blessed to know our deacon is going to be closing us off with prayer, because I was on a team on an action retreat who went on, I think, in 2003. Woo! And now he's a deacon. When I first saw him vested as a deacon, I was blown away, and he helped plant a seed within me, a desire, I should say, to become a deacon. And I pray that the Lord calls me one day to be a deacon. I'd love to assist right alongside with you. But without further ado, Deacon Jose Santos of St. Pius X Catholic Church, would you come up here and lead us off in a closing prayer? And you can't leave because we're going to do a drawing right afterwards. I'm making you stay for the drawing. Deacon.
What a wonderful evening we've enjoyed today. So much that we have learned and that we carry forth, inspired to do more when we're asked, and even if we're not asked, to still do more. And so we pray. We praise you, Lord, for your divine providence. We thank you for giving us faith in action, for faithful leaders, for faith-filled volunteers, for the gift of family. We ask you, Lord, to give us a generous heart to help those in need who come lost and seeking the truth, the life, and the way. We thank you, Lord, for Allied Women's Center as they guide those who are lost to find your way, to find their way to you. And it reminds us, Lord, may we one day hear, as you did it to the one of the least of my brothers, you did it to me. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Deacon Jose. I do also want to remind you that if you haven't already gone to go see the Gosnell movie, what are you waiting for? Get on out there. This week you can't go tonight. Maybe you can. Maybe it might be late showing. Yes, some of you all seen it? All right, there you go. Get on out there. There's also a self-made envelope if you didn't fill one out today that you can send it in later. Of course, you can take the flowers. Please do. I'm pretty sure they were donated this evening by Janelle Flowers. Way to go. Robert and Melanie Stovall. God bless you all. Also, a request out there. You heard Senator Lucio say that he prays for his priests and so forth. And I'd encourage you in your parish. Any Knights of Columbus out there right now? Raise your hand. All right. I'm going to charge you, I'm a fellow brother knight, 3rd degree. At your parish, I want you to start a holy hour for your parish priests. I guarantee they need it. You need to be doing it. If you need help, give me a call. We need some help? Tune to Catholic Radio. We'll help you that. Pray for our priests. They need our prayers.